Hello, 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 and welcome back to the greatest, best, most amazing YouTube channel in the world. So today, what are we doing? Well, we're not sitting on YouTube, nope. We're going to be taking a political compass test. I've seen some other people do this in the past, and it has been a little bit entertaining, you know. I think that it's a good thing for someone like myself who is constantly speaking about politics here on the channel, and someone who's never taken this internet test before, to do here live with you the community that we have built here. Formerly the Open Debate, which is the show you could consider this channel to be running at the moment. So we're going to get into this political compass test, but before we get started, if you'd like to help support the channel, as always, you can always donate through Streamlabs and have a message pop up on screen. It would look something like this. There goes.
This is a test donation for $CA.
And have your 2 cents heard in the stream live. Put the links in the description below. We have a PayPal and Patreon as well. And as always, sharing, liking the video, those are always the best ways to get the message heard and having everybody out there see what's going on. So, without further ado, let's just start getting into the test. When you go to the homepage, it says welcome. It's timely to stress that the political compass has been on the internet since 2001. The uniqueness of our take on politics is reflected in the gratifyingly enthusiastic reviews we've enjoyed in the national media of many countries from our earliest years, as well as from many teachers and academics who continue to use our work. So, this is being used in schools. How's it going there, Cypher? I'm interested to see the outcome of how this goes as well. Like I said, I've never done it before. So we're going to get into it now. Click here for the reviews. No, I don't want to read more about your work. Where do you stand on the political compass? Take the test. Look at all these guys. Where will we stand? Where will I stand? I guess you guys are going to be here with me. But yeah, let's get into it. So there's 6 pages. Test 1 of 6. Just a few propositions to start with concerning, no less, how you see the country and the world. Okay, interesting. So, first question. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. So, right away, I'm going to go into this with a philosophical point of view. All of these questions are in a philosophical world, and this is it starts off the question being based if economic globalization is inevitable. So that's the stance. Do I agree? Do I disagree? Should it primarily serve humanity rather than the interest of transnational corporations? See, you guys are going to learn this. I hate tests because I over-analyze everything. But obviously, I'm just going... it's not an obvious, but I'm going to go with I agree that it should primarily serve humanity. Humanity should be our number one goal, improving humanity. And the interest of transnational corporations will impact humanity through if they are putting forth beneficial actions, but I guess it's up to them. So I don't know. It's an interesting. I don't know. Right off the bat, I'm already. Who knows? I'll come back to this. I'll come back to this in a year, and we'll see if my answers change. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. Well, right away, I can tell you, I disagree with this one. I'm not a firm nationalist. I believe that you should take pride in your country and that you should support your country, but you should be analytical, you should be critical, you should be able to criticize things that are happening, and you shouldn't blindly support everything that's happening just because it's the country that you're from. Your country can do bad things, just like my country can. Anyone's can. The government is more than likely corrupt. No one chooses his or her country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. No, I disagree. You don't choose. You don't choose a lot of things, but you can still be proud. You don't choose to be tall. You can be proud that you're tall. You don't choose to what race you are, but you can be proud of that race. You don't choose which country that you're born in, but you can be proud of the accomplishments that that country has given to the world and has done for themselves, and improve it for yourself, in my opinion. So I definitely disagree that no one chooses. Well, yeah, I agree that no one chooses his or her country of birth, but I think that I do not agree that it's foolish to be proud of it. Hey there, how's it going? What is that? Rulio? Thanks for joining us in the chat. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Our race? Which race is our race? Who are they speaking to? Is this some sort of racist thing? No, I don't think that any race is superior. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. That's a really strange question. No, I disagree. I think that each race of human beings have equal qualities, and none are superior to others. There may be different qualities that are on average associated with certain races in specific, but that doesn't make them better or worse. Makes them unique. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. This is an interesting one. So it's an interesting statement. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. In a way they're your friend, but also they're still your enemy, and you have That's an interesting one. Right? This is from 2001 as well, Cypher saying, questions the legitimacy of this test already, and we're 3 questions in. We'll see how it goes. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I disagree with that, because I feel as though the enemy of your enemy is the enemy of your enemy. The enemy of your enemy. I'm getting all twist-eyed up here. Like, come on now. The enemy of your enemy is your friend. No. Because in the end, you're going to have to fight this battle together. Hey, Kilgore, how's it going there in the chat? Thanks for joining us. In the end, if you are not in an alliance, then I don't know. It's an interesting situation. Things go on a base-by-base case, but I'm going to disagree. I'm not going to strongly disagree, but in the end, I believe that unless your ideologies coincide, then it's still going to be your enemy. You can work together for a period of time, but it's not going to work out in the end. Military action that justifies international law is sometimes justified. Military action that Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Well, not all laws are justified, and it depends on the military action that is being taken place. You know, it really does. So I agree that military action that defies international law can sometimes be justified. Like I just said, not every international law is going to necessarily be in the best interest of humanity, depending on the situation. But this isn't outlining any specific incident. I think that I'm probably just too philosophical for these types of situations. I can look at the entire look at multiple instances and think about ways that it would be. It's not all cut and dry. You know, it's hard to explain. I'm just trying to say that things are not black and white here, people. So military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I agree, but it depends on the action that's being taken place. That doesn't, I don't know. Hard to explain. Doesn't justify political violence. And also, once again, it's a really hard one. They're getting at me. They're getting at me today, guys. Questions are weighted. Yeah, right. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. A worrying fusion. The way that the questions are framed, right? It's kind of strange. There's a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Why not just frame the question that there is now a fusion of entertainment and information? Why do I need to be worried about that? Am I not able to differentiate entertainment and information, even though the two are so intertwined? But I agree. I strongly agree that there is definitely a fusion of information and entertainment, but I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about it for the general public, actually, but the average person, I guess. But any analytical individual out there can look at information and research it for themselves. No Mercedes, what's good? Thank you for joining us in the chat. Going on to the next page here. It's going to be interesting to see how this turns out, guys. Now, the economy. We're talking attitudes here, not the FTSE index. Okay, so the economy. How do we feel? How do I feel? People are ultimately divided by class more than nationality. I definitely agree with that. Strongly agree. Class is definitely one of the largest factors, I believe, in the division between Canadians, Americans, individuals within Western society. Class division is pretty wide, and it's a problem. I think a lot more than nationality. Well, that's hard to say. Nationality. If you're assimilating to a place, a nation, then you would be part of the nationality. So if you're saying just like immigration and stuff, yeah, sure, or like separate races and things like that, people are ultimately divided more by class than I believe almost anything. So, in my opinion, controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. That's a pretty interesting one. Is controlling inflation more important than controlling unemployment? Because both seem to be a problem. Unemployment clearly is a huge problem, though. So if people aren't even able to make any money, then they aren't able to spend it on items that they need. But also, if the items that they need cost so much more than they're even being able to make, then it's an all-around problem. So which is more, controlling inflation or controlling unemployment? That's really hard. I feel like I'm not 100% certain on this one. So controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I'm going to disagree on that, and I think that unemployment is more important at the moment, but it's something that I'd need to research a little bit more on. C. Kilgore is saying that inflation is the greater evil. It's something that I'm really hard. It's hard. You got to think about what the options that are being weighed there. Right? People are working, but then they don't make enough money to even get the food that they need. What can they do about that when things cost more than the money that's being put out for the workers? I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm gonna stick with my answer there. Disagree. I'm gonna look into that one more because that's it's got me thinking, boys and girls. All right, because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulations. So, they can't be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment. And is this being said from a point of the fact that if you give corporations the ability to do whatever they want. They will do what's in the best interest of monetary value and building up their own gains rather than supporting the environment because it may be taking a hit to the company. It's an interesting question because it comes from the premise that not only corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, but the environment is something that affects each and every individual person that lives on the planet, and corporations are made up of human beings. So this question's implying that there are a subsect of human beings that run corporations that really just don't care about anybody else, the environment, or how it's going to affect human individuals just like themselves, which I think would stem back to the first question that asked if people are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. So if a corporation is essentially a group of human beings, are they in a higher class? Is that what makes them not being able to voluntarily be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment? They require regulations? It's an interesting question. And I'm going to go with I agree for now. I haven't looked into it. Once again, it's something I don't even know if I've been holding the mic the wrong way the entire time. Whatever. I don't even know if the statistics show that corporations do go out of their way more often than not or go above the regulations. I haven't looked into the statistics around what corporations are doing right now. And so I'm not sure if they can be trusted or not. I don't know what the premise is. So I'm just going to go with agree. I'm going to agree because as it seems to me from what I have seen that large corporations do more than not go after their own interests. So that's where we're going with for that one, guys. And let me know what you guys are feeling in the comments, in the chat and stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, how you feel, and what you think the outcome's going to be. Because I've actually never done this before, so it's the first time for me. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, is a fundamentally good idea. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, is a fundamentally good idea. What the fuck do they mean by that? From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Okay, so I have no idea what they actually mean by that. I think that they mean that from each according to his ability, what people are able to do, to each according to his need. I have absolutely no idea what this means, so I'm just going to disagree with it strongly. Each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Yeah, people do things to their ability and they get what they fucking need. Like, I actually have no clue what this is trying to say. What is that is an underlining precept of communism. Yeah, well, I don't believe that I feel strongly about communism, so I probably disagree, but I just have no idea what they're trying to state with that. So if anybody does actually know, try to outline it for me in the comments below so I have a better understanding. It's a sad reflection on our society that It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. I disagree. It's a product. It's a sign of the ingenuity of the human brain and how well individuals are able to create an environment where people feel as though they need something that they don't. And also, bottled water is used for a lot of good things throughout the world, but also it showcases just how susceptible human beings are to following the crowd and doing things that they don't genuinely need to do in order to feel like they are fitting in and being part of society. There's no reason in the Western world, unless you live in areas where there should not be areas like this throughout Canada and the United States, but there are. If you live in an area where there isn't clean drinking water, okay, bottled water makes sense. And then once again, it's a situation where should the government be supporting the communities where they don't have clean drinking water with bottled water from these companies that are, and so like, yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole product. The companies are still should be profiting off of manufacturing the water because they utilize the idea that they needed to transport water to these places. But the government is at fault for, they're the ones that need to purchase the product from the companies and then distribute it to these areas. It's not on the companies to just hand out the water. They had a smart idea. I think that they had a good idea. So yeah, I disagree. It's not a sad reflection on our society, especially for those who don't need it. It's a the sad reflection on our society is that people consume the product. So it's on you. Anyways, yeah, the plastic waste is also a problem with the bottled water. But if you utilize a type of plastic that can be recycled, then there you go. Then we're all working good. Coming up, Millhouse. Land shouldn't be a commodity and to be bought and sold. It's coming from a very strange place, these questions. But I'm going to continue. It's a theoretical world, philosophical land that I live in right now, and land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. The thing is, yeah, it's an interesting one as well. They're all loaded questions because they're very in depth, right? It's hard. How do we create a society that is organized and works symbiotically? If land isn't a commodity to be bought and sold, then we could freely move throughout wherever we would like, but also there's no security for anyone to be in any place without the intrusion of others that may have different, let's not say negative, but separate ideologies that are not completely conflicting to the full way of life that we want to live as a society, but also conflict the way that we want to live our lives. So if you want to live in a nice, quiet, peaceful neighborhood, and then all of a sudden you have people coming in with four-wheelers and playing loud music and doing whatever they want, it's going to be a really hard situation if you can just go wherever you want. Like, there's no real boundaries. Even though nobody's doing anything technically outside of the bounds of what we consider okay in society, they are still doing things that you don't want to be a part of, and so you want your own space. How are you going to get your own space? I don't know. It's an interesting thought. So, once again, like I said, perhaps I'll come back to this in a year or so and see how I feel after reflecting. But land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I disagree. Is it regrettable that many personal fortunes have been made? Is it regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society? Is it regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society? Well, that's a product of human nature and how people are manipulated. They don't manipulate money, they manipulate individuals who need money. Money is just a medium between getting things that you need, It's regrettable. I think that, in the grand scheme of history, we may look back on all of how society has been built, and it's regrettable that we allow these individuals to manipulate us in such a way, and we allow these we allow it to happen. Like I just said, you buy the water, you buy the products from these individuals, the things that you don't need, those microwave dinners. It's things that we are falling for. We were giving into it. So it's more so on us, I think. The people that have made these fortunes, that use money to work to their benefit and then contribute nothing to society, they're just bad people. It sucks that they're doing that, but I mean, those are more than likely the types of people that are going to accumulate a personal fortune. So I disagree. It's like, it's all, it sucks that more people aren't giving back when they reach that level, but also I can't make them do it. I don't know. It's I don't know. You want to impose fascism and just start making people do what you want? That's not how I want things to go. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Protectionism? Not 100% sure what they mean by this. I believe what they mean is like by putting like protections on certain things that are coming in and out of countries, so that like agreements can be upheld, I guess, like protectionisms. Is it sometimes necessary in trade? It makes sense that there would need to be like certain policies and certain things put in place so that things couldn't change for specific items. I don't really see anything wrong with that. It may be a loaded question. Right? Okay, what is it? That's the concept of the government protecting trade. Trade between individuals or trades between countries, right? Because those are two different things. But I don't know, I guess so. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. It's hard to say. Yeah, I don't think that full-on capitalism is okay. You shouldn't just be able to continuously acquire mass amounts of wealth and not have to, like, I don't know. I don't even know if I believe in taxes. It's hard. Because you don't get to a lot where these taxes are going. It's not like you have a choice to say, yes, okay, I would like to pay 50% of my taxes to go towards this part of the government and 20% to go to this part. No, it's just like, here, give me your money and I'm going to put it to what I want. And you better hope that I'm spending it the right way. I don't know, guys. I'm all over the place here. I'm just going to agree with this one and move on. Agree with this one and move on. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Say a current example is China. Hard to compete with their industry because they have zero labor regulations. I don't know. There are a lot of things I'm going to have to look into after this, which is interesting. But, hey, that's what we're here for, right? To learn something new, to get some information that we haven't had before. The social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. The only social responsibility. No, that shouldn't be the only social responsibility. A social responsibility for companies should be to also be having a positive impact and progressing society into the future, actually progressing people into the future, because companies have large impacts on the individuals, and people, like I said, are manipulated and follow what companies have to do. So the only social responsibility, I don't believe, should be to deliver profit to their shareholders. They're only monetary responsibility. The company's main goal is to deliver a profit to its shareholders. But to say a social responsibility, they don't even have an actual social responsibility. It's if they choose to take it on. I mean, we all have a social responsibility. Thanks there, No Mercedes. They're pretty interesting questions, but I've literally, like I said, I've never gone through this before, but it's super, this world that we're in right now, it's kind of strange. Okay, so it's an interesting, loaded question. The only social responsibility, so no, but once again, I just don't even agree that they have a social responsibility. It's not a real responsibility. Like, everybody has it. You don't have to abide by that. The rich are too highly taxed. I agree. I think that they're a little bit too highly taxed. I think that in order to incentivize more people to come and get into a high tax bracket, they shouldn't be being taxed over half of the income. I think that the highest income tax bracket in Canada is 54% or something like that, and so like that's over half of your income at this point is going. And yeah, sure, you're making a lot, but like we've discussed, the companies and the things that you're investing, that you're getting your money from, they should be putting it back into society, right? They don't have an obligation to do so, but without being taxed so much, perhaps these incentives would be there, and perhaps like the government should just give more incentives for companies to be giving their social responsibility of progressing the country that they live in or that they're operating in. Because I believe that if you continuously tax the rich highly, that, like, in my opinion, why would I not just leave? Why would I not just move my company somewhere else where I can operate with less taxes being taken out and probably make more money, and then continue to sell to an American market, depending on the situation. We have online sales now, so your store doesn't even need to be held in the United States. They can just be shipped there. It's interesting. So I agree. The rich are too highly taxed. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Yeah, I agree. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. If they want, there should be a baseline. It's good if the government should offer basic medical care to individuals. And if something isn't working out, or you'd like some better care, you'd like something else, go ahead. And if you have the ability to pay for it, you should definitely be able to just to go and pay for it. Why not? That makes sense. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Penalize businesses that mislead the public. I wish there was like a neutral where it's like, I don't really know how I feel about that. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. I don't like the fact of governments interjecting regulations into businesses in general, but also the public needs to be taken into account as well. Like we've said, very easily manipulated, very easily controlled. And one of the jobs of the government is to protect its people, right? And so if corporations or businesses are doing things that directly affect the individuals within your country, then there should be something set in place to restrict that business from manipulating individuals. Say if it was like companies selling products that were clearly not doing what they were supposed to be doing, and it was having adverse effects on individuals who bought the products, the company shouldn't be able to sell those products, and they shouldn't be able to advertise that they're going to do something when they're not, and especially if the effects of using the product in that way are going to have a negative effect on the general public. And so in those instances, yes, I agree. But everything's on a case-by-case basis, right? So it's hard. I'm not in government. I can't make these calls for myself. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationalists. Wait, what? A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. It is an interesting situation. So I lived on an island here in Canada. There's only one. And so there was a company there, and they build fences. And the company imports all of their steel straight from China. They're getting raw steel imported, and we manufactured the fences. So all like the raw, straight, whatever. There's everything, like just bars, all sorts of just random raw steel coming in. And then everything would be manufactured into fences, and then they would sell all of those products to every other fencing company on the island, because no matter where they wanted to get their steel from, they couldn't get it cheaper than where that company was getting it because they were buying it in bulk straight from the source. And so they had a monopoly over every fencing company on the entire island. There was nothing you could do. If you wanted to start one, there was nothing you could do. How are you going to get any material there? You're not going to be able to do it for cheaper. There's not a possibility. And so it wasn't really a free market in that area. So it's kind of interesting. But once again, it goes back to who has the idea, how do they put it in place, and if it's a small company that grows, I don't know, it's really hard. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator. It says that too, of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Yeah, I'm just gonna agree. I think there are some restrictions that can be put in place in order to create a truly genuine free market. It depends on the situation, and that's what needs to be stressed for all these questions. It depends on the situation. The freer the market, the freer the people. The freer the market, the freer the people. I disagree. Like, trading products and services isn't the only implication of what makes a group of people quote unquote free, in my opinion. There are definitely a lot more things to that, especially having the right to free speech and the freedom of press, having the ability to actually criticize your government. This doesn't make you free. A freer market. The freer the market, the freer the people. The freer the market, more than likely, the more open the government is to accepting things like that, but it's not necessarily the case. I just disagree. We're only on page 3. Jeez, I gotta quit talking so much through these questions. Oh, okay, what is this? Now a look at some of your personal social values. Okay, this should probably be easier because but who knows? I'd talk and ramble on. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. It's so hard. I disagree. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. It depends on the situation. The conversation's more, I don't even really want to get into this right now. The conversation's more about when life starts, when you believe life starts. And also, it's so hard. I don't like people interjecting into other people's business, but also when you have something growing inside of you that's a life that is not your own, when does it become not just a life that you're not just taking care of yourself at that point? When are you also taking care of another human life? When does it become a human life? This is the question, right? And it's a loaded one, and it's too much to get into. All authority should be questioned. All authority should be questioned. All of it. All authority should be questioned. It doesn't matter what, who, where, when. You should understand what makes someone an authority, and just because they are an authority on something doesn't mean that you should not question what's being said and inquire for yourself. You can easily be manipulated. That's human nature, like we've been talking about all day here. So yeah, I strongly agree. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Classic. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I disagree. It's not always that simple. Sometimes, you do something to me, doing something back, same thing. Two wrongs don't make a right. But, vengeance, it feels good in the moment, but it's not necessarily something that's going to, it's going to be a long-lasting feeling of success or do any good for anybody. So it's not really the way that we should promote our society, in my opinion. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth is not really the way to go, in my opinion. Reformation of individuals who do things wrong, forgiveness, you don't forget, and you move on. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any threats. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Taxpayers, any theaters? What is this? They said they made this in 2001, but I mean like theaters? Theaters or museums? Museums are different than theaters. Theaters are places, they have been, I think in the past, historic places where individuals would come together to relax, to have some sort of social gathering. But that's not really the case. If they mean like community centers, taxpayers should not be expected to prop up community centers or museums that can't survive on commercial bases. I disagree. I think that those are community. If the museums charge to get in, then no, maybe not. But any place that's a free accommodation like that, I mean, these are places for individuals to come and just congregate, Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Disagree. Unless, if you're not going to school, if you're doing something else, if you are homeschooled, then no. But if you're in school, then schools should make classroom attendance compulsory. I've seen people talking. I saw this crazy post. If you think that if you support, what was it, perfect attendance lists or like perfect attendance awards, then you're inherently ableist, blah blah blah. Some people can't go to school every day. It's like cool, that's fine. That's fine if you can't get there every day. It's just like it's a normal thing. It's compulsory. You're supposed to be there every day. If you can't go, there are special situations and circumstances. You're not going to make the perfect attendance list. Cool. Like that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. What? All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. It's like a caricature of somebody who's just like a piece of shit. Everybody's got their rights, but it will be better for all of us if different sorts of people just would keep to their own kind. I think that individuals easily accept each other when they are given the chance to learn and grow from each other and aren't constantly made to feel as though everything they say or do could be taken the wrong way and they have to walk on eggshells. If you are just able to interject cultures and religions into each other, then that's the way she goes. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Disagree. I don't think that doesn't make any sense. Good parents. And I don't mean this as any disrespect to anybody out there, but teaching your kids really good values and having them grow up in a respectful manner, instilling lessons into them. The whole thing is that a lot of parents, I think, it's the classic saying, right? It's children raising children, and they don't have the firm, hard lessons already. They haven't gotten to a place in their life where they are ready to have a child and they're ready to instill those life lessons into them. They don't have all of the knowledge that they have wanted to acquire to get to a place where they feel comfortable enough to pass on that knowledge. A lot of people find themselves having children at young ages, and it's not ideal, but it's the circumstances that they're given, and so that's the life that they choose to live. And I think that you need to really instill life lessons and have information to pass on to your children. They should be starting at a point from where you're at. You should have enough information where you feel confident that you're like, hey, I want to pass on this information to another human being and have them grow in a healthy society. Just sucks that a lot of people don't get that chance, don't get a chance to become into those situations before they get there. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Yeah, I agree. It sucks that that happens a lot, but not all parents make their children feel comfortable enough to open up to them with everything that they have, because there's that line of being a friend and being a parent. So, some things that they don't feel comfortable with, they're not going to tell someone who is their parent. But you should get to a place where they feel comfortable and confident enough that no matter what they say, you're going to be able to support them and take it the right way. Each one is loaded. See, no Mercedes. You're right there. And possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. I strongly agree, as it's not a criminal offense here in Canada. But I don't possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Obviously not. That makes no sense. Just doesn't make sense. If you've ever used marijuana before, you would know it has less of an effect than alcohol. So, yeah. But yeah, the prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generations to find jobs. I disagree. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generations to find jobs. I think that school should be a mix of social, helping kids socialize. They should be learning, skills to find a job, obviously, but they need to learn how to communicate with each other. It's a big mix of the two, I think. School should be a place, obviously, to learn information, and it's not just about finding a job. It's about learning and growing and learning about the world that's around you and actually becoming a more informed individual, learning how to differentiate information and learn how to research things and stuff like that. It's not just about finding a job, I don't think. Not in my opinion. MJ, smoking good. Talking cherries. Not good. Okay. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. People with serious inheritable disabilities. Oh. Huh. I disagree with that. But also, it's irresponsible. It's their choice. It's not necessarily going to be the outcome. But if you have an inheritable disability that, if it's, 80% that your child's going to have the same disability, and it's a struggle, and, it's one of those things. They still deserve to be alive. Just because you're disabled doesn't mean your life is worth anything less. So, you can still have a child, and you just need to have an understanding that they are going to need a lot of care, and then you got to plan for that in the future, especially if they're going to need a lot, then you got to get to that place. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Most important thing, that's why they always load the question with the most important. This is what I said when we started the test. This is why I don't like tests, because I read too much into the questions. The most important thing, is that what you're asking me? Is the absolute most important thing? Learn to accept discipline. It's not the most, but it's an important thing. You know what I mean? It's important, but it's not the most. You need to be able to understand that, there are times when things are going to happen that you disagree with, that happen because of actions that you've chose that you firmly disagree with. But in the context of what's happened, perhaps if it's a job, if it's somewhere that has these boundaries set in place, if you break the violations, things happen, and you have to be able to accept that. But it's not the most important thing. No Mercedes. Who pays for the child's troubles if the parents there? Who pays for the child's troubles if the parents know there will be troubles? Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying before. Who's going to pay for the child's troubles if the parents know? They need to set those regulations in place. Set those things up. All right. If I don't keep going through this, we're going to be here literally all night, guys. I just keep talking through it, all these questions. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. Savage and civilized. Yeah, I agree. It's not like they're just a group of people out there somewhere that are savages. There are definitely different cultures, and we have different values. That doesn't mean there are words like civilized and savaged. Savage and civilized, there could be like negative and positive. Like, what do you want? What do you want from me here? You just want loaded words like, oh, no savage or civilized peoples. Yeah, there are different cultures. Like, those are still two words that mean different cultures depending on how you want to look at it. It's just fuck off. Yeah, some cultures throw gay people off of rooftops, exactly, right? And so it's like, you can say savages and civilized, or you can say different cultures. It all means the same fucking thing. It's on a case by case basis. The loadedness of the questions are kind of getting me a little bit wound up. Some people eat, yeah. Is that corpses? Yeah, subset of people in India. There, we saw Buddy eating the dead with them, if anybody remembers that. Well, anyways, those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Obviously, people who are able to work but just refuse to do it, then why should you expect society to support you? That just doesn't make any sense. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. I disagree. It's not good to dwell on it, but you should also take care of the trouble. Whatever the problem is, you should take care of it and not just worry about other things. Omar Sadia says, again, I beg you to keep these questions. If you took 3 of them and posed them in a broadcast and let the debate spill over into the Discord, you'd have those easy broadcasts you've been looking for. Well, I'd like that. I'll keep these questions, obviously. I like having the conversation get sparked and having people discuss their opinions. So, the first generation immigrants can never be fully integrated with their new country. No, that just doesn't make any sense. I strongly disagree. Just a stupid statement. Like, literally a dumb statement in my eyes. It's like, if you take somebody who's lived in South Africa their entire life, and they've always wanted to live in the United States, they've loved it, like, it's just a first generation immigrant. And even they, like, it's a case by case basis. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Shut the fuck up. Well, what's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. No, I disagree. That doesn't make sense. What's good for the most successful corporations doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be good for all of the people within the country. A corporation could be doing absolutely amazing and just choose to leave once again because, like I said, the governments chose to impose high taxes on them. So just because the corporation's doing well doesn't mean the country's going to be doing good. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Public funding for broadcasting institutions. I disagree. I think that there should be publicly funded broadcasting institutions, but I don't believe that it should be that I think that the content should be you should just get all of the content, all of the points of view, all of the stories, all the different types of opinions. It doesn't matter who's on what side. Anybody can use those types of platforms that are being publicly funded. But that's not necessarily the case now, is it? On page 4, and how you see the wider society. Okay. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Civil liberties in the name of counterterrorism. It's a hard one, right? I kind of agree. Civil liberties are being excessively. See, that's the way the questions do it. Are being excessively curbed. No, I don't think they're being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. I think that they're being curbed and there being certain implications set in place because of terrorism and trying to counter terrorism that wouldn't necessarily be there if like these things weren't happening, but it's not excessive. I hate this. Right? Yeah. Everybody, see, Der Wunderbar. I think the open debate should get some public money. I should apply for some public funding and get this on CBC. Anyways, I'm going to keep going because these questions are just wild. A significant advantage of one-party state. Okay, a significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress into democratic political system. Okay, but you also have no dissenting opinion. There's just one party, and it's choose this. We agree. This is what we have to say. And I don't know. I think that you definitely need more than one political party, even though it does suck and things continued. North Korea has entered the chat. Even though you do, get tied up with arguments and the process gets delayed, it makes for at least a simulation that you have more of a say in what's happening, even though we all know how corrupt the government truly is. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Disagree. Strongly disagree. That's fucked. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers are the ones that need to be worried. No, you all need to be worried. They came for me, they'll come for you. It doesn't matter. Every single person needs to be worried about surveillance. The idea of wrongthink is literally here. It's not even around the corner anymore. It's already here. We saw it with this Nick Sandman. I think I still remember his name. That young 16-year-old kid who smiled wrong, and I even fell victim to not knowing, not fully looking into the situation before reporting on it. And it's one of those situations where we're moving into a really scary time where your every move is being documented, and you can do something wrong at any point in time. Like we talked about yesterday, Don Cherry, 40 seconds, and he was gone. So, alrighty. Death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I disagree. I don't think that we should be killing people, giving them a death penalty. Maybe find an island somewhere, throw them all on there, let them do their thing. If they figure it out, they figure it out. They don't. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. In a civilized society. Disagree. It just doesn't make sense. A civilized society doesn't equate to having an upper class and a lower class, having somebody be ruled. This is just a product of organization, I think, and organized governments and the way that they control the individual masses. Because if there was no classism, then I think people would get along a little bit more. But it depends on. There would still be a type of class warfare, I guess. Individuals who were hard workers and individuals who didn't contribute to society. If everything was just free, right? So, whatever. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. I strongly agree. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything should not be considered art at all. And this was touched on in one of my earliest videos, the idea of ideological subversion and how the modern art atmosphere really pushes this point home, and the fact that when you look at a piece of art that means absolutely nothing, all throughout time, you've always been able to look at this piece of art and say, this is good, this is bad. Now you see a piece of shit thrown at a white wall, and you look at it and you're like, this looks like a piece of shit thrown at a white wall to me. And someone comes up and says, oh, no, listen, this means this, and the representation of the poop splatters on the wall here symbolize how just oppressed every single minority is throughout white America. And the wall, it symbolizes white America as well, by the way. And it's a really deep, really deep photo, or a deep whatever gallery. And you sit there and the people say, oh, yes, I agree, because this authority figure has come up to you and said, no, what you're looking at isn't what you think it is. Believe what I have to say. And it's just not the fucking truth. It introduces people to believing things from an authority figure that disagree with their own point of view. and it's kind of scary. So, in criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Strongly disagree. In criminal justice, rehabilitation is the point. You want the person to become a reformed individual society, and you don't want them. You don't just punish people. That's not the point. You want to rehabilitate everyone. That's the goal. It is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. You just heard me go on that rant. The business person and the manufacturers are more important than the writer and the artist. Disagree. Like, what is stupid about this? Everybody in society has equal value. If you don't have writers and artists, then the business person and the manufacturer are going to go home and blow off their fucking head. Mothers have careers, but their first duty is to the home, is to be homemakers. I just strongly disagree. Each woman is their own individuals. They can do whatever they want. Some people want to be at home, and some people want to have careers. Like, there could be a dude at home cleaning everything for the girl. That's the way life is. Multinational companies and unethical exploiting the. Okay. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resource of developing countries. Okay, I'm getting all fucked up here. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Are they? Like, what do you mean? You're asking me? Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Are they? I don't know. That should be, I'm just going to fucking disagree. I have absolutely no idea. That's something that should be statistically verifiable. Go and look it up. Are multinational companies unethically? Is the word unethically? Is it that they are clearly exploiting plant genetic resources of developing countries? And the question is just, is it unethical? What are they asking here? Yeah, like Monsanto. I know what you're saying, but like, what are they asking? Like, this is like a statistically verifiable thing. Yes or no? I'm gonna actually agree, because like isn't it unethical? And it probably is unethical. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Making peace with the establishment? What the fuck do you mean? It's like, these days, making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Making peace with no, I disagree. The establishment you don't need to continuously just going with the establishment or the with whatever the status quo doesn't mean that you're mature. That means that you're a sheep and you're a part of the herd. Like, get your own brain, people. Hey, thanks for joining us in the chat there, boys. All right. If you got through that, okay. You'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. This is my favorite, religion. I love religion. So, astrology accurately explains many things. Disagree. I don't think so. I don't think so. Whatever. I don't think astrology accurately explains many things. Oh my God, these stupid questions. It does accurately explain many things, but not spiritually, not in a religious stance. In a scientific stance, astrology explains a lot. Oh yeah, so I'm just gonna go with no, 'cause like horoscopes, no. You cannot be moral without being religious. What do you guys think? You think you can be moral without being religious? You think that religion is the end all be all to being moral? I strongly disagree. You can definitely be moral without being religious. Religion is a basis for a lot of individuals who perhaps wouldn't have those morals there to begin with, but it's not like that's the only factor, and you have to be religious to have morals. Oh wow, there's like no questions here. Charity is better than social security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Charity is better than social security. By social security, do they mean like government interjection? Once again, that's what I said before. Charity is in my opinion, a better way to help genuinely disadvantaged people than having the government step in and be forcing regulations on companies and stuff like that in order to like proposition or like to propel like feeling the society, like our society moving forward. You know, it should just be something that we all strive to do and want to increase. But so I don't know, what do they mean, right? I'm on there for you guys. Let me know. I just disagree, or I agree. Yeah, charity is better than social security. But that doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily have better results if people don't pitch in. But I just think that the idea is better. Some people are naturally unlucky. I do agree. I agree with that. Some people are definitely naturally unlucky. They go through lots of situations where they, have bad luck. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I disagree. I don't think that the school's job is to be instilling religious values into anybody. I don't think that they should be interjecting those types of ideologies onto the students. I think that's part of the family's job to do. So there's no questions there, pretty much. That's pretty wild. So we're almost done. Almost done, guys. Been streaming for almost an hour now, probably. And we're coming towards the end of the test. Page 6 of 6. Finally, a look at sex. Oh, all right. Let me get juicy. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. It depends on your point of view. What is usually immoral? Like, what do you mean? The question. Okay, so sex outside of marriage is not something that you should strive to be doing, but it's not something that you should be ashamed of either. Immoral. I don't know what they mean by that. I'm going to agree with the religious context of it's frowned upon, it's considered a sin, but so is lying, okay? And you do that all the time. It's not like you should beat yourself up about it, but you should strive to not be a whore, not be a man whore, not be a woman whore. But it's not immoral. It's just a weird way of framing it. I feel like they're gonna have a weird bias reaction with me doing that, with people. Yeah. Okay, so a same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Okay, yeah. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. A lot of people within the LGBTQ AIPTP plus community that are vocal activists make it out to seem as though the majority of these people are crazy, off the rails, far left activists. But I feel as though those are only the people that we see in the forefront. So, there are lots of regular individuals out there that happen to be gay and they're in loving, stable relationships, and they can easily raise a child and it's not like they're gonna make the child be gay or something. They're just regular people. So I agree. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Yeah. Oh, I see what they're saying. It should be illegal. I strongly agree. But the thing is, that it's also up to the consumer, right? So it should be legal, but it should be frowned upon in society. It shouldn't be promoted as something. The industry is fine. They're doing their thing, but it shouldn't be you shouldn't. You should be at least promoting, I don't know. It all depends on your own point of view, I guess. I think that masturbation's fine, but I haven't looked into the full study. We're in November, right? So there's been all the controversy around whether or not abstaining from sex and from nutting is going to increase testosterone levels and things of this nature. The question is, it's not the point is that I strongly agree that it should be legal. You shouldn't be restricting it, but should people be viewing it en masse as they are today? Who knows? Maybe not. We'll see what studies have to say in the future. What goes on a private bedroom? Okay, what goes on in a private bedroom between consulting adults is no business of the state. Yeah, I agree. Once again, I strongly agree. You can do whatever you want. Don't fucking interject your shit in my shit, because I just want you to leave me alone. So I'll leave you alone too. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I don't know. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I think that's probably the only way you're gonna feel like that. I don't think you just become like that one day. So I've been living for 28 years now, and I've never just woke up and been like, yep, I want to be gay. So I feel like you probably wake up when you're born like that, I think, but I don't really know. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. It's hard to say. I don't think that it's gone too far. I think that it's very far ahead of where it used to be, and it's promoted in a different way, and there are a lot of things that are sexualized that shouldn't be in today's day and age. So you know what? I'm gonna say that these days openness about sex has gone too far. Yes, it has. The sexualization of children and things in the media is absolutely ridiculous, and the way that people discuss their sexuality, especially around anything that doesn't have to do with heterosexuality, then is actually kind of disgusting. Even if you were speaking about heterosexuality in that way, it would be just the same level of disgusting. The fact that you're talking about your sexuality in the open and in the way that a lot of people do is, it's not what I want to be hearing or discussing. Goes back to that. It's no business of the state. It's no business of your neighbors either. Just let it be. But I think that's it. So it says, now let's see where you stand. So I'm pretty interested to see where I'm gonna stand on this. It was last updated on Thursday, November 7th, 2019. So it is updated, like the questions and everything. This is I'd have to go back and see from old tests, but I don't know. I don't know if they're updated questions or what, but let's get into it, guys. Drum roll. We'll see what it is. About the political compass. Okay, what are we doing here? In the introduction, we explained the inadequacies of the traditional left and right. If we recognize that there's essentially an economic line, it's fine. As far as it goes, we can show, for example, Stalin, Mao, Zedong, and Pol Pot, with their commitment to a totally controlled economy. Wow, guys, my head's just gone at this point. On the hard left, socialists like Mahatma Gandhi and Robert Mugabe would occupy a less extreme left position. Margaret Thatcher would be well over the right, but further right still would be someone like the ultimate free marketer, General Pinochet. That deals with economics, but the social dimensions is also important in politics. That's one of on the mere left social scale, whatever. What does it say? So we've added one ranging in positions from extreme authoritarian to extreme libertarian. Right? Is this me? I don't know. What's going on here? All I want is my results. Okay. Left, right, social libertarian, authoritarian? Authoritarian? Come on now. I'm not trying to get anybody to do anything. Weird. It's a strange. Okay. What are we going here? The chart also makes it clear that despite perceptions, the opposite of fascism is not communism, but anarchism, i.e. liberal socialism. And that the opposite of communism, i.e. entirely state-planned economy, and what is happening? Like, what is happening here? Strange. they talk a lot before they give you their thing. But my political compass. This is what it's at here, boys. Oh, what is this? I have no clue. Social libertarian, authoritarian. I don't think that this accurately describes me, but you know, whatever. This is what they're telling me I am. I got a personal political compass certificate showing my own position, and it's available online. I should save this. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to save it. They said you could print it out too. But yeah, so I guess that's it. I guess apparently I'm a social libertarian, authoritarian. I don't know much about politics, to be honest. I just started getting into this, like we've discussed a few times, when Trump started running for election back in 2016 or late 2015. I never cared about politics too much, and I just thought that I'd do this test. But it's pretty interesting to see where they came from, where they came to. Pretty close to the center. I mean, they have a four scaled situation. Yeah, and Cypher says, I still think you could find a better quiz. Yeah, I think that I could find something else. And I like the starter thing. This was pretty cool to go through and do with you guys so that we could see it all together. But the questions were super loaded, and this theoretical world that we entered was very, I felt, biased towards coming from the point of view that whatever, like, the capitalism was really bad. It seemed like that was not, like, capitalism was not promoted as anything that would inspire any sort of good. At least that's what I got from it. It just seemed very strange. The perspective wasn't from anywhere that I had really just like felt I'd gotten information from before. It was strange. Yeah, the bias was independent, but still fun. The bias was there, but it was fun. I don't know. This was interesting. My brain's a little fried. I don't like doing tests like this. I hate, because I get so analytical. Like I told you, I read into the questions so much. Okay, so what do you guys want me to post on Discord? I'll keep all this stuff up, and then you guys send me a link or send me a message on Discord, and I'll get all the information up over there. But that's it, guys. That's pretty much it. That's where I'm at. This is my political compass: economic left, right, social libertarian / authoritarian. I don't like that one. I'll revisit this maybe in a year or so, like I said, and we'll see where we stand. But thought it would be fun to go through. Let me know if you guys have ever done this before and where you guys got what it told you. And if you enjoyed the stream, if you'd like to see more things like this, let me know in the comments below. So with that being said, that's gonna be it for today, guys. I'm out. This has been the best, greatest, most awesome YouTube channel in the world. So, my name's Elder. Be your own hero, kids.